I believe I have solved skill-based matchmaking in Warzone 2, and today in this video, I'm going to explain how it works, why exploits like VPNing and loading in with a lower skilled player and dropping out do not work in this version of SBMM, and why it appears your favorite streamers or content creators are getting bot lobbies more frequently than you or your friends. Hello, my name is Melky, and in the back we got some Iron Sight sniping gameplay for you, so enjoy that while we talk about SBMM. And before we get into, I think, the most juicy thing, which is why these exploits don't work anymore, I need to explain how I believe SBMM is working so that it will make more sense why these exploits don't work. Let's imagine you have 10 games of Warzone over your entire career of playing Warzone. Now, most players are going to play hundreds, if not thousands of games of Warzone, but let's say this particular player only plays 10 games of Warzone in their entire life. Of those 10 games, let's say one of them is guaranteed to be a bot lobby while the other 9 are guaranteed to be skill-based lobbies. Now, of course, there's no way to guarantee that your first game is going to be the bot lobby or your last game. It could be any of the 10 games that you play are a guaranteed bot lobby while the others are guaranteed skill-based lobbies. But that is the basic premise of how I believe skill-based matchmaking is working in Warzone 2. For every set number of games you play, you are guaranteed a set number of bot lobbies. And that number might be a very nice even number, like 1 for every 10, or it could be a multiplicative of 1.5 or 2.37. We don't really know. The numbers on the back end could be whatever. But for every certain number of games you play, you are guaranteed to get skill-based lobbies, and you are guaranteed to get a fraction of those as bot lobbies. The idea essentially being a lottery system. The more you play, the more games you get through, the more bot lobbies you're going to see because you are therefore guaranteed more bot lobbies. This doesn't mean that you can stack bot lobbies up. It doesn't mean that you can reliably predict when you are going to get a bot lobby. But the more skilled of a player you are, the earlier you will recognize a bot lobby and therefore be able to capitalize on it. The average Warzone player in Warzone 1 at least was right around a 1 KD, if not a little bit lower or a little bit higher, depending on the season. And so the average lobby, if it was perfectly skill-based, was going to average out to about a 1 KD lobby. Now, obviously, there were people who had lower lobbies, there were people who had higher lobbies, but anybody who had over about a 1.75 2 KD could at some point in the lobby recognize when they were in a bot lobby. Now, if you yourself are a bot, and there's nothing wrong with that, we need all kinds of players in Warzone, but if you yourself are closer to that average player, closer to that 1 KD, it's going to be harder for you to recognize those easier lobbies because those easier lobbies are more closely aligned to your skill level. Again, going back to this lottery system, it is guaranteed that you will get a certain number of bot lobbies per every certain number of games of Warzone played. So I use the number of 10, but my estimate is that it's closer to every 50 or so games, you're guaranteed maybe 2 or 3 bot lobbies. So it's a little bit under 10%, maybe 5% of your lobbies are going to be bot lobbies, but you never know when you're going to get them. And obviously it would be difficult to exploit this system with a VPN or loading into a lobby with a lower skilled player. And I am going to also explain how I believe this works for solos versus squads, because I do think it's a little bit different depending on the game mode you're playing. But at the end of the day, what is happening is you are winning the lottery when you get a bot lobby, and you're guaranteed to win the lottery again, but you have to play through maybe a certain number of games, or maybe you'll get back-to-back bot lobbies because you've played through so many of your other skill-based games that you are guaranteed to get more frequent bot lobbies. I know what you're yelling. How do you prove this? And the real answer is we can't yet, but we will be able to prove this theory when we get access to the API in Warzone, when we get access to all of our stats. We'll be able to actually look at large content creators and streamers and average out hundreds, if not thousands of their games to see if they're getting a set number of bot lobbies per a certain number of games being played. At the very least, we'll be able to get a percentage of bot lobbies that they get when they're playing, and we'll be able to cross-reference that with other streamers and content creators. We often use the term skill-based matchmaking, but the idea really is retention-based matchmaking, and the game knows how to keep you engaged. It knows when the most optimal time to give you a bot lobby is, and it could be after 5 really bad games. It could be, give you 2 or 3 games in a row that are really good, because at the end of the day, it's a battle royale, anything can happen, but if it can give you a really easy lobby based on your skill level, it might be incentivized to do that to keep you playing longer. And another way I can explain it is that it's a timeline. Your entire lifetime of playing Warzone is a timeline. So from the first game you play to uninstalling the game, or your computer dying, or you dying, or whatever, every game that you play is just a continuation of all of your previous sessions. So it knows not to give you a bot lobby every time you log in for your first game. It knows not to give you a bot lobby after you've already had 5 this past week, or whatever the statistic comes out to. And if we think a little logically, we can start to answer the question of why do the streamers and content creators seem to get bot lobbies more frequently than other players? And it's simply a math game. If the average player can play 5 to 10 games per session, and they play for between 2 to 4 hours a session, a couple nights a week, well, maybe they run into 3 or 4 bot lobbies that week. But a content creator or a full-time player of Warzone is going to get through 3, 4, 5, 10 times the number of games over that same week. So of course they're going to see more frequent bot lobby. And I know a lot of people don't like this answer, but if you've heard of Occam's razor, then I think this makes a lot of sense. Occam's razor is the idea that the simplest solution most likely is the solution, and the further away from a simple solution you need to get to, into conspiracy theories, into grand ideas and crazy thoughts and processes to explain why things are happening, the less likely that explanation is. In my opinion, is it easier to explain that out of 1 every 10 games, you're guaranteed a bot lobby? Or is it easier to say that there's a whitelist, every content creator is put on that whitelist, they're guaranteed bot lobbies all the time because they have a direct connection to Activision? It's a little harder for me to believe, especially because I have witnessed getting bot lobbies. I know other people who have witnessed getting bot lobbies and play in them. So it's not like those people are whitelisted. I'm not whitelisted. I've never been contacted by Activision to say, good job, you play our game sometimes. Here's bot lobbies. I think it is most likely that this is some form of a lottery system where X number of games are played, X number of those games are going to be bot lobbies. And finally, let's talk about how the different game modes are going to dictate how strong your skill-based matchmaking is with this lottery system. I've tried to explain this like 7 times already, and words are being vomited out, but I'm going to explain it more concisely. When you play a solo game, you are being matched up against every other player to find your skill-based lobby. And when you play 50, 80, whatever the number of games is that you need to play to get your guaranteed number of bot lobbies, it's on a 1-to-1 scale for games played versus the skill of your lobby. When you are playing with a squad, I believe the number of games that every player on your squad has played is going to factor in to the number of bot lobbies that you get. For example, let's say you log in and you play 5 solo games before joining a squad of 3 other people to play quads. You've already played 5 solo games today in your timeline of games played in Warzone, whereas your buddies have maybe played 3 games today so far while they were waiting for you. As a combined unit, your squad has now played, I don't know, let's say a total of 16 games when you tally all of them together. That total number is now going to be used differently for your quad skill-based matchmaking, and it's going to give you maybe out of a squad total of every 400 games, you get 20 bot lobbies. I think that makes sense the way I'm explaining it. It's essentially still taking every individual player's total games played, but now tallying it as a part of the squad. It's not using your average KD for the squad. It's obviously using that to find lobbies that are appropriate skill levels for everybody in the squad, but it's tallying the total number of games and the lifetime that player has played to help find those golden bot lobbies. So I hope you enjoyed my theory on how skill-based matchmaking is working. I really do believe that I've solved the matchmaking process and how it is using both retention-based matchmaking and skill-based matchmaking on a regular basis to give you, the player, the most brain-breaking experience, because that's what these game developers are doing. They want you to spend the most time as possible on their game, and I think I've figured out how they're doing that. As I said earlier in the video, my name is Melky and I make Warzone content all the time. I'm live playing Warzone, I make shorts, and I make YouTube videos like this. So if you enjoyed the content, if you learned something new, or you just like hanging out with me, don't forget to subscribe and drop a like on this video. I would really appreciate it. And honestly, that's it for me talking today. Enjoy the rest of this iron sight sniping video, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Rip. What did I get? I got 5th.